know what, I just can't believe it's September already. I can't believe it's the time of year where people are starting uni. I thought we could have a little sit in the natural light, just a casual chat about something that I think potentially is probably playing on a lot of people's minds right now. If anybody is anything like me, this time of year and the thought of either going back to uni or starting uni or even going back to school used to be so daunting and overwhelming that I thought we'd just have a really casual video about starting uni and things that I would do differently if I was going back to uni as a fresher or even just as a second or third year this year, because I feel like I had a very turbulent start to my time doing my course. If you are new to my channel and you haven't been watching, 2 years ago this September, in fact 2 years ago today as I'm filming this, I moved to Leeds to do a 1-year course in an art foundation degree, which basically, if you don't know what that is, it lasts for 1 year. It's like a foundation before you would go on to do an undergraduate. However, you can do it as a separate course just by itself, and I moved to Leeds to study that at the Leeds University of Art and completed it mate, 1 year ago, and feel like I can reflect because I had, as I said, a pretty up and down start to that in terms of how it affected me mental health wise, and also in terms of how difficult I found it to move away from home. Despite the fact that I'm not as such a home person, I still struggled massively with homesickness, and I thought I could maybe help some of you guys out because I've had a lot of DMs over the last couple of weeks, a lot of messages from people that are feeling exactly the same and exactly how I felt 2 years ago, so hopefully this will be useful. Now, I have my laptop here with its little dongle sticking out of it, and I just watched back my moving to uni vlog for the first time since I uploaded it, and it made me cringe a lot because I was a little baby and everything about it's just cringy. The amount that I cry is painful. Ooh, the sun has just gone in. This is why I usually film with a ring light. Anyway, sure you're not that bothered about the lighting. I thought that rather than like reacting to the vlog as such, what I'm gonna do is watch back my pack with me and start there, because I was watching this moving to uni vlog and I just thought, Christ on a bike, did I ever use any of that stuff? I swear to God, I moved my whole life with me to Leeds and I can probably count on one hand how many belongings I actually needed to take with me. So I think it'll be useful for some of you guys, if you're an overpacker, to react to my pack with me rather than my move with me. I haven't watched this back either. It's painful for me to watch any videos, especially old videos, back because I just cringe. But I'm gonna do it. Oh God, Christ.
So you can even see the floor in here. And now out here what we have is...
Right, when I said half my life packed up into boxes, I actually meant half of my bedroom, which I just didn't need or have the space for in Leeds. Like, I just lived in a tiny flat. Don't get me wrong, I love the flat and it was decorated nicely, but I just think that I didn't need to go that overboard.
So like things I'm going to be taking with me.
Okay, the first thing I can see here is I took a whole box of books. I don't know who I thought I was. Unless you're doing a degree in English, I don't really know when you're going to have time to read a whole box full of books. Like, I would say don't take any books. If you want to read, just either buy them once you're there, or when you next come home, take something that you're missing, rather than packing an entire box full, because that was just a complete waste of space and weight in the car. Room accessories as well, tone it down and keep it minimal, because university rooms are never big enough for like all the ornaments you would have in a bedroom at home. You just don't really have the storage space for stuff like that, so you don't need a photo frame with every single one of your friends in. Also here I can see an entire Tupperware of hair accessories like shampoo and conditioner and hairspray. I didn't use any of them. I brought the whole Tupperware back home with me. Take the bare minimum. I would say pack almost as if you're going on holiday. Like, if you wouldn't take it on a fortnight's holiday with you, don't take it to university with you, because the chances are you probably won't need it straight away, and if you do find yourself needing it, you're going to be living somewhere where you could always buy it rather than transporting everything with you. I think that was an issue for me. I think I thought Leeds didn't have any shops. I took every single hair accessory with me as if I didn't think Boots existed in Leeds. I'm looking at my wardrobe from like 2 years ago, just looking at all the clothes in it like, Molly. Anyway, that's not why we're here. That's not what we're doing.
At the University of Lincoln,
we're getting a university ad. This vlog is quite wittery. It's not just what I packed, but I can also see that I took so many clothes, and I think, again, pack almost as if you're going on a fortnight's holiday, because you probably don't need that many more clothes than that. And something I would say to take that I didn't is fancy dress, because in Freshers Week, no doubt there'll be a fancy dress themed night. So if you have any that you can bring with you from home, sounds random, but bring that, because I didn't, and I did end up buying my own. Same with coats. You don't need to take that many coats with you to uni. I think I packed like all my coats and I just only wore like 2 or 3, and that's coming from somebody that loves coats. So don't be an overpacker when it comes to clothes, because it does take up space, it does take up storage, and if you do find you're really missing something, you can always get somebody to send it from home, or again, go shopping. Like, I was living in Leeds, there were so many shops, and obviously I'm not saying don't take it with you, just buy it. I'm just saying if you find the odd item that you haven't got, you can always buy it. Again, I think the same with makeup. Like, I took so much makeup with me that I just never used, and it just takes up space. I think the bottom line is try to maximize the space you have, because you don't need everything with you. I just paused the camera. Since watching that video, I've made a list of 8 of my essential items that I think you should take with you that I either didn't or really got the use out of and did take, that you maybe might not think of, because the essentials that come to mind for me are like clothes, toiletries, bedding, all of that kind of stuff, but there are little bits and bobs that you do find yourself using. So here are my top 8 recommendations of things I would take to uni. Number 1, slippers. Slippers, or some kind of comfy shoe that you can wear in the kitchen and the communal areas, because when I say it's sticky, I mean it's like being in a nightclub. Like, the floors are just never properly clean. It's not like being at home. So you're gonna wanna have something on your feet. Do not make the mistake of going into your kitchen barefoot. Don't go into any student housing or accommodation barefoot. Just like. Number 2, dry shampoo was my best friend. I was lazy. I had 9 AMs almost every day. I was not washing my hair as often as I probably should have been. Take some dry shampoo with you. Number 3, a doorstop is so important. People recommend this all the time, but especially in those first few weeks, especially if you're moving to uni this week or you've already moved, take a doorstop and prop your door open, because there's nothing more welcoming than being like, hi, I'm open for a chat, like I wanna get to know you. Don't close yourself off and stay in your room. Like, make sure that you're mixing with other people, and sometimes having your door even just slightly open can show that you're not being super shy or like being super reserved. Okay, a bit of a random one that some of you might not think of, but an extension cable. You never get enough plugs. Never. You might not be as bad for cables as I am, but I'm constantly charging multiple devices, and you only get like 2 or 3 plugs. And if you've got a TV or a phone or a speaker, or like, they're quickly taken up, do you know what I mean? Ibuprofen and paracetamol, make sure they are on your list, because fresh as flu, 1, although this year I don't know how you're going to be getting that. Hopefully nobody's getting any kind of flu, but also I just think that people forget those things. Next one, I found this really useful personally, and I think especially this year because there will be less of an emphasis on nightlife. A telly. I freaking loved my TV. It made such a difference to my uni experience, because I don't deal well when there's no background noise. So having the TV on, even just in the background, was really, really good for me. It really helped me like not overthink and sit in silence. But also you could always move your TV to the communal areas and share it, or like pay for a Netflix subscription together as a flat, or whatever, however you wanted to do it. It does help the social side of it, because we would watch a lot of movies on my TV in my room, and it just made it a bit more like a movie night and a bit more like cozy. And I think especially this year with the lack of like clubbing and stuff, those kind of things could really help. Also, it's just fun as well, especially like at Christmas time. Next, mugs. There's a double-edged sword to this, because I took too many. You don't need to take more than 2 or 3 mugs. You're one person. There's only so many hot drinks you can be drinking at the same time, but make sure that you take more than 1. You don't need to excessively overdo it. You're not feeding the 5,000, but don't just take 1 mug, because I would have a cup of tea in the morning, not wash it up, go to uni, get back from uni and want a cup of tea, and my mug was like dirty. So, and as I've already mentioned, the last one on my list was fancy dress. So I went as a zebra to one of the freshers nights out. If you've got a zebra costume, take it with you. You never know when you might need it. It's not going to be freshers nights out, is there? I don't know why I just said that. You probably don't need fancy dress, because you're probably not going clubbing, but take it anyway, because we live in hope that one day you maybe will be able to go to a nightclub again. Oh, the lighting isn't very nice. Now I'm just going to go off a couple of you guys' questions on Instagram. I did ask on my stories for like things that you were worrying about, or things that you wish you'd thought about before. A lot of people, this came up a lot and it really surprised me. How did you know what to wear? This is a good question, to be fair, because I think a lot of people until this point have always been in a school uniform, or like some kind of uniform policy. I would honestly probably just answer be yourself to almost all of these questions. Like, there's no point going in pretending to be somebody you're not, because if you're just yourself from the beginning, you're just going to find your own group of people so much quicker. And I feel like I have addressed this in the past, and I have said this, but university is the opportunity to move away from your hometown, or move away from like whoever you've been for the past however many years, and just be yourself and find your own likes and interests and group, and you don't have to be anything that you've previously been. And I do think that that is a helpful like transition from school. So just wear whatever you feel comfortable in and don't feel embarrassed, because nobody has any preconceived judgments of you. You're starting again, so you can wear whatever the hell you want. The most frequent one generally is about homesickness, and I definitely have answered this before because I answered this in last year's Q&A, but I think the way that I really dealt with that was making plans. For me, that was such a good way of getting through it, because if I could work on like a week by week basis and not think too far ahead and focus on the plans I had in that week, it really kept my mind occupied and it kept me busy, and then it meant that I wasn't thinking too much about like, oh, I wonder what my family are doing, I'm really missing home. I think the time that I moved to uni was really difficult for me because my family had just got a dog, hashtag replaced, but it's fine because we love Lottie, so it's okay. And I was constantly thinking like, oh, I wish I was at home with the dog, I want to go see the dog, like I wonder what they're doing. And I think that keeping busy just distracted me, and I would always try and plan stuff for the next week. So I'd be like, oh, do you want to go for food next week, or like, do you want to go out for drinks, or do you want to go clubbing next Wednesday, or do you want to go to this themed event? Like I would always try and organize stuff because that's how I work in terms of just, I don't know, feeling a little bit happier in myself, just day to day anyway. So that really helped. But other ways I think is, don't be afraid to like ring home. There's such a stereotype about like, oh, you need to go and that's it, like cut all ties and communications for the first couple of weeks so that you really settle in, but that doesn't work for everybody. That's not like a one shape fits all. Everybody is different. So I think if you're really struggling, there's nothing wrong with ringing your mum and going, look, I feel like all over the place, I just want to ring you. And there's nothing wrong with that, especially if you're close to your parents. It is a weird feeling to then just not have that communication face to face on a daily basis. You're not used to it. Somebody said recipe ideas. I actually have 2 videos that I've previously done on recipes that are easy and quick and cheap at university, so I'll link both of those in the description. Again, how did you decorate your room? I have a whole room tour. I just watched it, cringes me out, but if you are interested in what my university room looked like, I will link that as well below. I don't want to like just talk through things I've previously done. There are a lot of uni related videos already on my channel. A couple of other random little bits that I think are essential for the room, just looking at my moving out video now. Command strips are so good for putting things on the wall. Most flat rules are that you can't mount anything to the wall, but command strips don't leave any marks, and they do let you mount things with command strips, so they're great for putting photos up. These fairy lights really made my room feel homely. If you're anything like me, get yourself some fairy lights. You can get super cheap ones places like Primark, but these ones are actually from Amazon and they plug into the wall and they've lasted me years. So yeah, if you want to invest, these ones are great. I'll link them below as well. In terms of the actual room itself and what it's like to live there, I think it can be really hit and miss whether or not the room is really warm or really cold. My room was freezing, so like I had a dressing gown with me at university, which I loved. If you don't want to take a dressing gown, hoodies, stuff like that, to make sure that you're always warm, because sometimes there is a heating issue and my room was freezing all the time. Similarly, my room also smelled. When I moved into it, it really smelled strongly of cigarettes. The person who had previously lived in that room must have smoked in it, even though you're definitely not meant to do that. And it had been shut up over the summer, so when I moved in, it really smelled, which wasn't great. And it did disappear like once I'd opened the window, you know, and like had an air freshener and like left it a week. It didn't smell anymore, the smell did go. Take something that will mask that, be it an air freshener or a room diffuser. You usually can't light candles, which is annoying, but obviously a safety thing, so get yourself a room diffuser. It makes it smell a lot nicer, and also then you associate it with a bit more of a homely smell rather than like student accommodation smell, which isn't always nice, let me tell ya. Could have been worse than cigarettes, it could have smelled of sick. And the final thing that I kind of wish I'd thought about a little bit more before I moved was meal planning. I didn't think about this because I'd never cooked for myself before I moved out. I was very open about saying that. I was awful at cooking, I still am awful at cooking, but I really was bad when I first moved to Leeds. I was just like shocking. And it did mean that I ate out a lot and it wasn't great. I did order a lot of takeaways and I ate in Wetherspoons a lot, and I don't recommend that really, because not only is it bad for your diet, like I gained so much weight at the beginning of university. Also, it's just bad, like it's expensive, it's bad for you, like there's not really any pros to it. So I would say have a little bit of a rough meal plan or like a meal outline. I got really good at this towards the end of my course because I would buy everything that I needed like on the Sunday, and I would only buy stuff that I knew I was going to use. So I would plan out Monday to Friday's meals and buy the items that I needed so that I wasn't overspending, but also not wasting any food, because I would find it really hard cooking for one to use up all the ingredients, because like if you need like one pepper, your likelihood is you're not using the whole pepper in whatever you're cooking. So I would try and make sure that every item got used, and I think that really helps as well with the whole organisation thing, because then in my head, this is just how I work, I'd be sat thinking, oh well, on Thursday I'm having like a spaghetti bolognese for tea and I really like that. And it's those little things that do just pull you through. Like, I'm such a food person that I know if I've got 5 really nice evening meals lined up, that I'm gonna feel a little bit more motivated and like, I don't know, just in a better mood. And I know that's such a small thing, but it really did help. Same with lunch times. Like, I would always kind of pre-plan my lunches and like make packed lunch to take to uni towards the end of my course, because I'd realised I'm spending a lot of money on eating out. So I would make like a packed lunch or like a salad or a curry from the night before and take it to uni with me, and I would have some kind of structure. I think I wish I'd thought about that in the September, October time, so that I was a little bit more organised, because it was a lot more a case of me being like, oh, I can't be bothered to cook, I don't have anything in to cook, I'll order food, I'll go out for food. And don't get me wrong, it is nice to go out for food, of course it is, and I still am the worst for eating out, but it's not always necessary. It's more of a treat. It should feel like something special that you're doing with your flatmates or your friends or your course mates, rather than something that you're doing just for yourself out of laziness. So definitely try and switch little things like that in your day-to-day routine that you can make into a positive, because then food for me became such like a, I don't know, like a treat, like something at the end of the day that I was looking forward to. That makes me sound so sad, but trust me, when you're in that mindset of everything feels negative, it's the little things that do pull you through. So I think I would definitely say think about that. And the last thing that did really help me was joining a gym. If you can find a cheap student gym and you know that you're one of those people that like exercise helps them feel a little bit more positive, or even just having it in your routine, I would definitely say see if you can find a gym to join that is affordable and that's obviously not like going to bankrupt you, but it's just an extra something, like it's an extra curricular that helps take your mind off it but is also doing something good for you. So most cities that are like big student cities will have gyms that are pretty affordable. Sometimes they're even on campus. I know that Leeds Beckett has a gym on campus, and usually that's easy enough to sign up to. So I would say look at something like that, because that definitely helped me like change my mental attitude a little bit. I joined it with my friend Eleanor, who was on my course, and we went together like 3 or 4 times a week, and it really did just like motivate me. So there's loads of little things that I hadn't thought about joining a gym when I moved to Leeds, but once I did it, I was really glad I did. So that's kind of the end. I feel like this was just a bit of a chat, a general advice on things I wish I'd known before I started at university, and that I would have found useful this time of year if I was going to go out and be a fresher. Obviously this year is different to any year previously. I don't really know what it's going to be like, and I can't even imagine being a fresher without the freshers week. And I'm not saying that's because you have to go to uni and spend your first 2 weeks getting drunk, because it's absolutely not the case. But usually there's a lot of like ice breaking in those first 2 weeks, and I don't know what it's going to be like this year. So the absolute best of luck to you if you are moving out and you are about to go and start your uni degree and start your course. I think that even if the first few weeks do feel really daunting and you feel at a bit of a loose end, usually, not always, the results are worth it. So I think just stick with it and try and do everything with the most positive mental attitude that you can. And I know it's so much easier said than done, trust me, I do. Hopefully, fingers crossed, you're all gonna have a really good time. Let me know in the comments if you are starting university, and if any of you are going to Leeds, let me know which Leeds uni are you going to, and if you're not going to Leeds, which uni are you going to. I hope you all have the best start that you can, and that you have the most positive experience possible. But yeah, my DMs are always open, because I do know how difficult homesickness can be and how hard the first few weeks can be. Wow, the shadow hitting me is ridiculous right now. I should have just set up the lighting, shouldn't I? I thought, oh no, we'll have a casual chat, we'll have a little laid back video where we just do like a Q&A almost, but it hasn't really worked because I'm just in shadow. So I'm gonna go. Give the video a thumbs up if you found it helpful, and if you've got any of your own advice, please feel free to share it in the comments. I'm sure other people will find it helpful too. I should be back on my channel on Saturday with a weekly vlog. I'll see you guys very, very soon. Bye!